with the same kind of thing.
A lot of the stuff you've developed through the ICO, like the Oscars, the OSACs, all that's made it to the Academy website.
Mm-hmm.
What is the quality of international residency programs like relative to what you see here in the U.S.?
Well, certainly hugely variable. And I think one of the most important thing about the U.S. that differentiates the U.S. from certainly not all countries, UK, Australia, some of the other, and they have very good systems, is the standardization. So, I mean, you can take a resident from Cincinnati and pretty much they're probably going to get about the same kind of training that a resident from UCLA is going to get or from Baylor or whatever. Whereas in most countries, it can be hugely variable because there is no sort of standards of accreditation, which is why I'm so passionate about that as something that I think that's the single most important thing to improve residency training around the world is some sort of minimum standards. There are places you can say, I've got a training program and you've got a training program. No, you just start seeing if people will come to train there. There's no standards you have to adhere to. So I think that the uniformity, the standardization in the U.S., although people in the U.S. might say, oh, it's not that standard, but compared to the world, it's very standard. So that's one of the benefits, I think. I think that there's, I don't know. I think there's a lot. It seems to me there's a better availability of ophthalmologists willing to teach in the U.S. And I think that's, I don't know. I think that's because in general, ophthalmologists are pretty well remunerated. That's not so in a lot of places. And the reason I think being well remunerated helps is because you can take time and say, okay, I'm making enough money, I can do some teaching. Whereas in a lot of countries, you're teaching and you're not putting bread on the table for your family and you don't get paid for teaching and all that stuff. So that's the biggest problem is teaching doesn't make money. And how do you reward the teachers in other countries who are taking time where they could be in the OR or they could be doing 3 times as many cases in the OR if they didn't have a student. And so those are the problems. So I think the nice thing that the US has is that ophthalmologists make a lot of money compared to their counterparts in most parts of the world. And that allows the teaching to be, easier. I think if it were different here, we'd probably have the same problem with the teachers. So I think that's one of the issues.